Good morning, everybody, or good evening.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you
How
all.
are we? How are we going? Good to see lots of people in the chat.
Andrea, Mr. Bunny, Dentex. Hello.
Hello,
Daniel.
hello, and
Oh, we have
Daniel.
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel was the first one. Is that right?
I think so. No, Mr.
Good to
Bunny.
see everyone.
Mr. Bunny was in here hours ago.
Oh, were you, Mr. Bunny? I'm
Mr. Bunny's
sorry.
always first.
I'm so sorry. Oh, well, everyone's first in my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's number one.
So, welcome everyone to episode number 2 of the Paranormal. I feel like it's been forever, and it kind of has. It's been a month since my last one. So, because I had to just skip a week with the big move. So, yes, very, very excited for the guests we have coming on today, and really looking forward to chatting to her about all of her adventures. So let me tell you a little bit. Oh, before I do that, Jane and I have decided that we're going to do like our lives on a Thursday. So Jane's Ghost or Roast and What the Paranormal to an hour and a half. Especially with mine, it gives you guys an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So if you do have any questions that you would like to ask Courtney, you can put them in the chat and we'll do Q&A the last half an hour. Okay, so Courtney, Miss Courtney is an absolutely amazing and talented female investigator. Now, when I was looking back at Courtney's Instagram page, she only started her IG page back in October last year, and since has grown over 3,500 followers, which is insane. She is also a co-author in the book The Feminine Macabre, which is quite cool. And that is alongside 30 other female investigators. So The Feminine Macabre is written by Amanda Wimmer, and yeah, she gets all these different female investigators to bring her stories in, and yeah, and I might have some news coming up about that too. So Amanda Wimmer is from Spookies, and Paddy Negri is also in this book, and so is India from Paranormal Encounters. So that's really...
there's some pretty influential female investigators and people from the paranormal field.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes, to see, Courtney being one of those is absolutely amazing. Without further ado, I will bring her on because, I'm dying to have a chat to her. So everyone, please remember, please be respectful and welcome her with open arms. Here is Courtney Eastman from the Ghoul Guides. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is so fun.
Oh, our pleasure.
When I contacted you, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to Courtney. Like, she is just amazing. And I really admire the work that you do on your Instagram page.
Well, thank you.
Phenomenal. It's really, really good. So I guess the first thing I would like to ask is what got you into the paranormal? Has it always been something that you've had? Do you have abilities? When did it all kind of start for you?
So I would say that it kind of all started when I was little. I kind of, ever since I was little in my parents' house, I've actually grown up around 5 cemeteries. So they're literally at the end of my parents' street. So I I drive past them daily. Even to go to school when I was little. So they've kind of always been around my life, and I've always kind of been around it. Yeah, so then, of course, growing up, I have always watched Scooby-Doo, and that was a huge influential part of me. I even got the Phantom tattooed on me.
Wow, that's an occasion.
I know. And then when I was about 7 or 8, I had my first experience in the house. I saw a face in my second-story bedroom window in the middle of the night.
Oh my
and
God.
it
creepy.
Yeah, it terrified me to the point where
Sure.
yeah, we had a chimney stack coming up through my bedroom because it was just a small one. And I remember being so scared in the moment that I ran behind it, and there was a gap between the chimney and the wall, and right next to it was the window. So I was trying to peek in there, but the framing of the window blocked the view. So I remember being 7 or 8 and creeping around the chimney to see if it went away, and it finally did after about it was 5 minutes. But when you're 8 and you're having this experience, it feels like forever.
Oh yeah.
So
and that's quite a long quite a long time for a face to be in the window.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I didn't care to know at the time. I just knew that it freaked me out beyond belief, and I was like, I can't tell anyone about this. It's 3 a.m. I can't do this.
Oh yeah.
So I just went back to bed.
Or is this was it a 2-story?
Yeah, it's 2-story.
And this was on the second floor.
Mm-hmm. It was in the left bottom window pane.
Shadow.
I know.
Always joins us.
Needs to make an appearance.
Normally my cats are all in the backgrounds. They're known as my ghost kitties. But
are you right there?
Since moving back,
right?
back at home with my mum and dad.
He just oh, baby.
Oh my God. And here I thought my cat would be a problem tonight.
Oh, I just stood on all my books and went for a slide. Anyway, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, but mine are all kind of they're in a a big enclosure outside. And yeah, my Berman Nibbles is separation anxiety big time because he's such a mummy's boy. They're not happy with me. But carry on. The face in the window.
Yeah, so that was the first experience. But ever since then, I've been kind of into the paranormal. I was kind of that weird girl in school. I was like, hey, let's talk urban legends. And did you know about Bloody Mary? Let's do this. Yeah. And so I was that bad influence, at the sleepovers. I was like, let's do light as a feather, stiff as board. We can do it.
Oh my
we
gosh,
can do
it.
That was me. Let's do the ghost stories.
I was all about it.
Find out, is it I want to know. I think it might be.
Oh, I was so here for it. And then I remember the paranormal TV started happening. So there was a show called Scariest Places on Earth. I really loved that. Linda Blair was the host, and that's where I saw Waverly Hills for the first time. And ever since that moment, I've been all about that place. actually a family from Buffalo, where I'm from, they got picked on the show to go spend a night at Dracula's castle, which I had a trip planned for this August, but with COVID, it got pushed back. So I'm like, I was like, it's okay. You can like still have my money. I just want this trip whenever I can.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like ever since then I've kind of just like always had it be a part of my life. In the house, there's been like little experiences here and there. Nothing like too out of the ordinary, just kind of like taps, letting you know it's there. I kind of have a theory that it was like the cemetery, and like it's just people wandering through. So they're kind of just like stopping to say hi and stuff.
Yeah. And did you ever see that face like appear again after that, or is
No, it was the first time, and I actually was wondering this the other day because the memory just keeps popping up. I wonder if like they knew that I was so scared in that moment that they're like, okay, we can't show her like that anymore. Like we can't show ourselves to her like that anymore. So I always wondered if it was like that because I never really saw anything in the house ever, up until recently. Actually, it was like, I want to say maybe 2 summers ago, I saw a full body apparition come out of my parents' bedroom and like shoot down the hallway. It was like almost 6 foot. It took about like 6 or 7 strides. It was kind of like translucent, so I couldn't like, I knew like the figure was there. I just couldn't like see what else. But my mom came out of the one room and she was just like, what happened? I was like, someone like, is Dad sleeping? Because I'm pretty sure that someone just came out of your room and went towards the bathroom. She's like, yeah, no, he's knocked out. I was like, oh, cool. All right.
So, like, has your mom or your dad like experienced anything in the house?
They every once in a while, my dad doesn't like really like to believe in this stuff, which is
mine too.
All right, but he's like slowly getting into it. They've seen stuff. They've kind of like heard. I know like when we wouldn't be home in like high school and stuff, they would hear people walking up in our rooms when no one was home, and you can like hear the floorboards creak. So I think they still hear that every once in a while. And I think they just like see things out of like the corner of their eyes, and like when they go to look, it's not there.
Oh, wow! And nothing ever negative like happens that
not that I know of. No, I haven't had anything like really jump out and be like, hey, this is like out of the like. I've always got the feeling that it's just kind of passing through, which is fine. I'm down for nothing negative. I don't want to really like deal with that, but everything's been smooth sailing so far, so I'm knocking on wood.
It sort of sounds to me like the local spirits of the local cemeteries are just coming for visits. You might get a bit lonely down there and just go, I'm meant to go visit the people up the road. And
it's all right. Give us a good scare every once in a while.
I would probably sense that you're not the only house in your street that might get, the odd visitor.
No, actually, my mom's friend lives the block over from them, and she's actually said like the same theory because she would be doing dishes and like looking out her window, and she thought she saw someone walking with the dog, and like she go to look, knowing that there was not enough time to like disappear and they'd be gone.
I'm not surprised. You got that many cemeteries up the road. I think things are going to be going on in that street. I'm not surprised at all.
You need spooky suburbs.
You need to get your mum and dad to put up security cams. Like,
I just got him a Ring camera.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but it's for the front door, so hopefully we can catch something outside. But
you never know.
If we catch something outside, maybe I'll bring them inside. But
absolutely.
Oh my goodness! So do you think do you have like any kind of abilities? Because I've found that a lot of people who are into in the paranormal field, especially especially females, I find have some kind of like gift, whether it's like, you know, they hear things or they see things or whatever?
I don't want to say that I have gifts because I'm honestly not sure. But I've been coming to like, I know that I kind of have like a strong intuition, so I've been like learning to follow that more. But when it comes to like investigations, I've kind of like realized that if I cannot stop staring at a place, then something is going to happen. And my prime example of that is the body shoot at Waverly Hills. When we were down there, it was just this long tunnel, and there was just four of us. There was just four females there, and I was the very last one at like the top of the slope, and everyone else was right to like my left. So I couldn't stop looking over my right shoulder down the only exit and entry of the place. And the entire time I was like, something's gonna, like, I was just like internally panicking. I was like, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna poke his head around. Something's gonna chase us down this tunnel, and it's gonna suck because it's 450 feet long at a 45-degree angle, and it's gonna suck getting back up. Plus, it's the only way in and out. So we put down recorders. Someone put one down before me, and I put mine down. And as soon as she did that, she picked hers up, and we were gonna do like a REM pod session. And in my head, I was like, you know what? Just leave your recorder on the floor. It is what it is. If you get the echoes, it's fine. And as we were setting up the REM pod, someone heard like what sounded like shuffling down at the bottom of the tunnel. So I finally broke my concentration away from the door I was looking at, and we were all gazing down and like focusing in so we can just try to see if we could hear anything. And there was 10 seconds of silence on the EVP, and right as the recorder flipped over to a minute, all you heard was a huge door slam and four girls frantically screaming. The screams are honestly my favorite part of the EVP. Like, the door slam, that's awesome, but our reactions to it was 10 times. So you can, like, in the EVP, you can hear us scream, and someone's like, "What was that?" And the other girl's like, "I don't know." And like, we all have this like internal panic because all of our attention was taken at the bottom of the hill, and it happened right as I tore my eyes away from this place, and everyone could see that I wouldn't stop looking there. So I found that interesting.
Absolutely.
But yeah, come to find out, it wasn't the metal gate that like shut the tunnel off from everything, and it wasn't the door leading into the hallway that led into the rest of the hospital. It was the emergency exit door in the middle of the hallway that we had to walk through to get to the tunnel, and the motion light was on outside, but no one was around. And no one from the rest of our group heard the door slam, heard us scream, and didn't even hear us radioing them to see if it was them. Yeah, it was a weird 20 minutes.
That's nuts. Yeah.
I bet you girls, like, once the panic and all that settled, had a good laugh listening back to it.
I still giggle laughing at it, and like even telling people about it, I just get like this biggest smirk on my face because it was I still just picture us remembering just being so frozen in this tunnel. The only light we had was a faulty motion light going off. And we're just like, what is going on?
Oh no.
Gosh, because I can imagine like the feel, like the energy that must be like in that tunnel. Like, it just looks daunting.
Yeah. And like it's really nothing bad. Like some people say like there might be like some evil things at Waverly, which is understandable, because of just all the energy you have going in and out of that place. And they like supposedly have like a creeper on the 4th floor, which I think I had an encounter with. I'm not completely sure. I can't be too sure about that. But really everything when it comes to like Waverly Hills, especially the body shoot, it wasn't done out of malice, and their morale was really what made the body tunnel or the body shoot into the body shoot. It was just a tunnel that hauled things to like material. That's the word I'm thinking of. Material to like build it. And then once the death rate went up to a death an hour, they were like, we can't have the people on the sun porches hoping to get better watch all their family and friends go into a pursuit of hearses. So that's why they use body shoot. So I don't think it's anything bad. Our friend Charisse, who was down with us, she did a tarot read on the location and like what we should expect. And if I remember correctly, it said that it was trying to give us a good scare. So in my head, that was like, hey, you guys want to be scared tonight? This is your scare. And it was a scare. It was like a classic scare. So I'll give them that. And what's really weird is like that whole door kicked off like 45 minutes of just crazy activity to happen to us. We heard like giggling. We heard like metal scraping the floor. I thought it sounded like the body trays in the morgue coming out, but we tested it and it wasn't that sound. And it was a metal chair actually across the doorway in the hallway. So we didn't see it move. We just heard it across the floor, and we were hearing voices all night. We heard, like, I know I heard 2 disembodied voices with my own ears that night. And
it's
like to get there someday.
I get excited when I hear a disembodied voice. It's like, oh my gosh, like, did you hear that? Like, I've got this abandoned homestead that, I did a live investigation on last Saturday. And, my partner Jen is, still in her sensory depth. And Adam and I, like, hear this male, like, huh? Like, sound. And we both kind of, like, look in the direction. And then I said to him, oh, what's that? Is that a train?
I'm sorry. That was the there's an expressway, like a highway outside my thing, and I have my window open, so it's just a motorcycle going by. It's summer. I'm so used to it. I'm just like, yeah, what was that? Like, what was that?
So dramatic sounding.
Some horror so you might hear like 1 or 2 of those. So I'm sorry, but I have my window open.
I was just going to say that, but Jane, it sounded like a horror sound effect.
I know. I was like,
very appropriate.
Dramatic sound effects happening.
Oh my gosh, yeah, but Adam and I, like, we both looked, and I looked at him, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And he's like, even I heard that. But it wasn't picked up on the audio. It was frustrating because, I said, like, guys, did you hear that? The people that were in the chat, and they didn't hear anything, but it was so loud. I was like, huh? Like, type sounds.
Yeah, I ended up hearing one with my friend Steve at Waverly. We just watched everyone in our group. Yes, Steve Rowe. Yeah, he is. So actually, we watched everyone in our group leave, and he looked at me and was like, "I'll stay up here with you." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So we started after we watched everyone in our group walk down the stairs. We turned and we started heading towards like the OR, and we got not even halfway down the hallway, and all you heard was, "Hey." So we both whipped our heads around, and we're like, "Oh, that's someone from our group, like wanting to come hang out with us." There was no one there. We both were like, "Yeah, we heard that." So we started booking it, and he was saying, like, "You guys have to tell us." I was to the point, I'm like, "You have to tell us if you're up here. I'm not gonna be mad. I just want to know." We couldn't find a single soul. That was crazy. And then we were doing the Waverly challenge. So if you haven't heard of that, I guess it's a challenge where one person goes floor by floor, up or down Waverly, and without a flashlight, without any equipment, and you kind of just have to see what happens.
Hang on, so you have to walk the entire floor.
Mm-hmm.
How many floors is it? Like 4?
It's 5.
5.
but the fifth floor is like the roof, so it's small. It was a huge challenge. We did it at the end of the night, and it was getting to like the last hour, and we kind of looked at each other, and no one wanted to do it. So in my mind, I was like, if no one does it, I'm doing it by myself, even though I knew I wouldn't. Because I have this, I should like have a gold medal because I come up with like all these crazy solo ideas and I get like super into it. But once it comes time to actually do it, I'm like, nah, it's all right. No, I'm good. I don't want to do it.
Please tell me, did you do it?
I did it with two other girls. So what happened was Steve and his two people went with him, and they started up at the 5th floor. And myself and two other girls, we started at the 1st floor. We had no idea that Steve was starting. And come to find out, they actually saw a flashlight beam come up the steps, and they heard my voice and I believe Sharice's. And they waited for about like 5 minutes. They didn't hear anything else on the stairs. And they were like, that's weird. Right after that, we radioed them like, hey, we're starting on the 1st floor. Where are you guys? So what they believed to hear were like mimics or doppelganger voices, because Waverly has like the doppelganger phenomenon happening there. So while we didn't see anyone, like we didn't see doubles of anything, we were just hearing each other's voices all night in parts of the hospital where we weren't. I remember at like on the 5th floor, after we got done doing an Estes session, we did like a triple one up there. The one girl was like getting annoyed because she kept hearing all these voices, and she's like, well, if they're just gonna come up, they have to come up. And we like all stopped and waited, but nothing ever came. Like no footsteps ever came from it, no people ever came up. So you were just hearing all these like phantom voices of us. And during the challenge, we met on the 1st floor, or we met on the 3rd floor. So we got there first and we stopped, and I was like, let's turn our flashlights off, let our eyes adjust, because I thought I was seeing something down the hallway. They actually came down and were like, oh, it's just them. And I didn't know my friend Sharice had a recorder going. So we started walking, and we're like, oh, was that you guys? We thought we saw something. And they called back. I don't really remember what they said. But as we were walking, coming from my right in one of the rooms, all you heard was me, or it was me, disembodied voice.
Wow.
Me and Sharice, who was in the middle, we both heard it, and we looked at each other. And this is actually on our YouTube. So you can go and see like pretty much she like sums up our whole night with all the evidence. And it's really cool. She actually got the voice on recorder. And when she sent it to me and played it, it sounds exactly like our friend Hannah.
Wow.
Like within a second of them playing it, I was like, oh, that's Hannah. But you can hear in the whole recording, you can hear our thought processes of, oh, that's them, throw it out. And then they're like, oh no, that wasn't us. So we kept walking, you hear the voice, and they go, is there a female with you? And they're like, yeah. And we're like, oh, okay, it's fine. But they quickly go, she didn't say anything. She didn't talk. So it was just so creepy. But yeah, I remember hearing that clear as day, and I don't think I'll ever forget that voice.
No, that's crazy.
I think, that's kind of the most disturbing thing that you can hear, I think, is when a spirit is mimicking someone else.
It's totally disconcerting. I've had it a couple of times, like I've had it through the necro and the spirit box, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's me, but I think we had an EVP as well. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I had a spirit follow me home from somewhere in the place that I've just moved out of, and like this spirit just would mimic everyone in the house. And I had my my boys were out, and my older one was with his girlfriend, and I think I was getting ready to do an investigation. So I went back into my bathroom, and then I heard the door shut, and I was like, oh, maybe they forgot something. and I heard his girlfriend's voice, and I was like, oh, yeah, like they've come back. Or, you know, geez, I didn't go for very long because I were off to the beach. And I didn't hear anything else. I'm like thinking, hang on a sec. So I go out there and there's no one there. And yeah, it was just crazy.
It's very weird because I feel like I have a very distinct voice because I'm from the East Coast. I'm by a Great Lake. So my accent is just all over the place. So for something to like mimic me and where people are like, oh yeah, that's Courtney, it's very, very unnerving. And I know when I showed Hannah and I told her about the EVP, she was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm so sorry this happened to you, but it's very cool.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's say hello to some more people. We've got Jared. Hello, Jared.
Hey, Jared. What's up?
And we've got Russ from PNW Sasquatch Shadows.
Hey, Russ.
I think I saw Electric in here.
Here we go. Hey, Electric.
Was anyone else that I might have missed? And Liana.
Oh, we had Alicia. She was in here earlier. Liana. We had a few other people way earlier, but don't think they're still in here. I can't go back far enough.
Ross is saying, I nailed it. Yeah, betcha, Courtney. Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, since we're talking about Waverly Hills, the SS session that you did was a triple.
Yep.
Okay. I've only ever done a double. Jane and I did a double for the first time while she was over here. And I love doing them. Like, I absolutely love doing them. But you sat outside by yourself, room 502.
So I came up with a double idea, and the same night I like went to go tell everyone, the other girl came up with the triple idea. So I'm like, well, let's do that. And after we did the walkthrough, I somehow got this feeling, like when we were talking with the tour guide we had at the time, I got the feeling, I was like, maybe we should do it up here. And as soon as I said that, I got like full body chills, and I was like, oh yeah, we have to do it up here. So we set up, and I don't know how I was the one, but I ended up sitting outside of room 502. So that was right to my right, and to my left was Charisse in the middle. And then Amanda from Pretty Effin' Spooky, she was at the other door. So I was standing in like the supposed area where she hung herself, because if you don't know the legend, room 502 was the room where a nurse supposedly contracted TB. She was actually like pregnant. There's many different theories as to what happened, but ultimately her life was taken. And through investigation, it's just it's another sad story that unfortunately Waverly has captured over the years. But
there's so many there.
But so through investigations, we're kind of figuring out that she might have not committed suicide, and it could have been another thing at hand, like a doctor who had a relation with her and possibly cheated and came up from behind and did what he did and then staged the crime scene. But it's just another it's another mystery. We won't know exactly what happened because we weren't there.
Did she have ligature marks around her neck? Is that why they think she hung herself?
They say that she hung herself because the janitor who was working on the shift, he came up the elevator, and when you're on the elevator, the doors open, and the first room you see is room 502. So that's why they say that she was hung in room 502. But the janitor or the maintenance man at the time was the one who found her hanging. And come to find out, it wasn't 502. It was actually the light fixture right above or right out of the walkway of the elevator. It was so right now it's like this old rusted like fluorescent light type of thing, but back in the day it was like an old chandelier.
Yeah.
So we did the triple out there, and that was the very first time I ever like did triple or even a double. So I kind of just like threw myself in.
That's the way to do it.
I had the idea of doing a double, so I was like, triple, let's go for it. You want to do quad? Let's go. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll go under.
Yeah. I guess I was under the longest. So we were under for probably about an hour. I would say I want to say Charisse pulled herself out first. I had no idea what was going on. I was just spouting out whatever I was hearing, and what's really creepy, I will say this before I move on. What's really creepy is that there's a couple videos on my like Instagram Reels and TikTok if you ever want to see it. Or Charisse has like a full hour video of the whole session on her page, which is Charisse Williams XO on here.
On YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube, and that's where the full video is. So we did the triple, and Amanda, who was the very last one all the way on my left-hand side, she states, she was like, it just feels like something's going like this and walking by. And we have headphones on, we have no idea where anyone is. So she set it out, and then probably 30 seconds, you can hear Charisse goes, it feels like there's a breeze right in front of me. And the second she said that, there's me going, I said, I feel really cold. Is there someone walking by me? Because there's just a breeze. So it was boom, 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 all of us saying without even realizing. And what else happened?
And was anyone else up on the floor with you, or was it just you three girls?
There was 3 other people up there with us. So we had Ernie, the tour guide, who we kind of roped in to help us. I thought that was really cool because the spirits know him. He's been around here forever. He knows everything. And before we even started the session, he was up on the 5th floor waiting for us because we were getting all our gear. And he got a phone call from his wife, who was at the lake, I believe. And she was telling him information about the janitor that was supposedly found the nurse who hung herself. He got a name, and we said the name in the session. We had no idea of anything. And when he told us after what happened, we were all kind of like just shell shocked. We're like, oh wow, okay. The one girl, Deanna, she actually jumped in when she was up there with her husband Mark, and they were filming us, and then she jumped in doing her very first Estes session with us. When one of the girls came out, and she actually saw his face, like to the point where she almost wanted a notepad to draw his face out. It was that clear. And when she was telling Ernie about it, I'm pretty sure he was saying like, oh yeah, that was the maintenance man.
Wow.
That's incredible. But isn't it amazing, like when you do like, like the sensory deprivation, whether it's like, doing it solo and someone's asking the questions, or, doubles, like Jane and I would, both just go under, and it would just be the 2 of us at the location. Listening back to it is always just like, what the hell? I mean,
especially when things come rapid fire. That always blows my mind. I remember I was at Palmyra for the very first time I met Steve. We went to Palmyra Historical Museum together, and I was like, let's do an Estes session. I'm like, I'm going to be upstairs, and you could be downstairs with everyone. And I remember he brings this up all the time. I guess he asked a question, was like, what color is this lamp in front of me? And without missing a beat, I go, red. And it was a red oil lamp. And every time he was coming up the stairs, I called him out. Like, he's coming. There he is. He's coming. And he was like, how did she do that? So like every time I'm with Steve and like he somehow like comes near me like during the session, I somehow always end up calling him out.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, like you've obviously got, that kind of connection. So similar to Jane and I, we, at Clackline, it's an abandoned brick refractory. Jane and I are literally having a conversation with each other, back and forth, back, without missing a beat. It's just back and forth, back and forth.
We actually picked up on like residual conversations with that, so that's really cool. Especially the back and forth. That's like when it's quick like that. It's I mean, I guess you can like find a way to dispute it, but I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, we were even doing that at Green Hills with the numbers.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's snooker ball numbers, or it could be darts. But yeah, with the 5, 8, 10, you're like 9, 11. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and then I was like 7, 6, 1, and then boom, boom, boom. It's so weird. Like what? Yeah.
I know. And because I've got my noise cancelling headphones on, and whenever I have, at that point in time, I didn't have my spirit box yet, so we were both using the necrophonic. But when you've got it, full volume, and even with the SB7, you can't hear shit from anything other than the going on.
And sometimes I remember at Fairfield, I did one in June. We actually did a triple one there, and I think you watched the one in the morgue. I remember that, but I don't know if you were up for the one where I got touched.
Hang on, that was on the IG Live, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying that he wants Courtney. He likes Courtney, and you were like, no, I don't want him to like me.
So what happened that night? So what happened was I jumped on a hunt for Madison Seminary and Fairfield for a Friday and a Saturday. And that Saturday night, we ended up sleeping over at Fairfield County Infirmary. It's an old infirmary out in Lancaster, Ohio. So we got done with an event, and we just passed out at 5, and we actually got a really creepy EVP. We were just joking around, and we're like, hey, where should we sleep tonight? And you can hear it say right here. So we're like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay. We'll just sleep right here. So I woke up on a Sunday, and within 48 hours, I found myself driving back down to Ohio to do the hunt that I actually booked. I actually booked it, and I just jumped on another hunt. So that whole night, I was like, am I really going to do this? And I had a poll going in my Instagram Live, because once again, I was like, let's do solos. And when it came time to it, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this at all. But I guess in that session, not only was there someone walking around me in that attic the entire time, it kept saying my name. It kept saying the morgue, where I eventually was bullied into doing a 5-minute session as they all watched me on the IR camera, just standing in place and trying not to freak out. And just being down in that morgue, I was like, oh God, I don't want to be down here. I just feel like no matter what I do, something's going to be behind me. So I had to put my back to something. I was like, if I move, then I'm open for anything. It was just such a full panic moment. But when you were like, yeah, no, he wants Courtney. He likes your hair. His name's James. He does this. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. This is cool. This is cool. But I'm panicking.
Yeah, and then you got he wants Courtney.
I was like, it's cool that you possibly remember me, but at the same time, it's come on, dude.
Can you maybe move on to somebody else?
Why me?
I constantly have my name being said during spirit box sessions, whether it's the necrophonic or the SB7, and poor Jane, a few weeks ago, was doing, a haunted doll thing with her partner, one of her new partners, Tans. And I'm in the chat, and I think it was Andrea, she's in the chat here, and said, at least they're not saying your name, because like everyone's always hearing my name being said. And I said to her, I'm like, well, hopefully, considering I'm in a different state, like I'm on the other side of Australia. And then within a minute, my name comes through. And I'm just like in the chat, what the hell? Like, are you serious? And yeah, like I almost had to leave the chat because like they were getting too distracted. And Jane and Tans were trying to like communicate with this doll, and I'm just like, I
the
think I
mother's
might have
spirits
to
drop
jump
on
out.
by. Dr. Peter. Like, yep.
Like whenever there are some times where I think I hear my name come through, and if I don't like hear it clearly, I'll just pretend I ignored it. Like I won't even acknowledge it. Be like, no, I didn't hear it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like if you want my attention,
that,
say it
yeah.
clear. But I know you called my name. I just don't want to acknowledge it right now.
Yep.
Like especially when we were up in Fairfield, because before we even started, I was brave enough, and I like when I do Estes session, I hate having my back to something, especially because I'm going under. You're already taking away 2 of your senses, so I wanted to feel like a little bit protected. So I always had my back up to something, but that night I was like, nope, sit in the middle. Just sit in the middle, it's fine. And as we were sitting there, I remember messing with my phone because I think we were trying to get it up on mine before we went to someone else's. Behind me, all you would hear were like footsteps and a tap, and then we'd all look at each other and be like, okay, like that's happening. And I remember right as I started going live, you would hear bangs to my like little taps and bangs to my right, and I was just sitting in the chair. I was like, oh, like I can't. Like I love doing this stuff. I know I sound like I internally panic on everything, but but like in that moment, you're just like, oh, cool. Like I'm going under. This is like it is what it is. And that night I ended up getting touched, and it felt like I could feel the vibrations on the floor, and it felt like it walked in front of me and then walked around me, and then someone like lightly touched my arm, like enough to like make me jump. And I was watching the live back after I got home the next day just to like see what was going on. And the entire time you can hear someone in the other room go, oh, Courtney's gonna get touched. Courtney's screwed. She's screwed. She's gonna get touched. And just like the entire time listening back to it, I was like, why did you wish that upon me? Like I was like, it's cool that it happens.
Oh wow, that's like yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like the second time.
During my sensory dep on Saturday night, and it actually like normally if I'm getting touched, well, I guess it depends on what it is, like contact wise, but yeah, I just felt like someone like ran their fingers like across my forehead like that.
Ooh.
And it made me like something just freaking touched my forehead, and like because I've got the blindfold on, I've got the headphones on, I'm feeling to see if there's like a hair that maybe like with a bit of wind like just did it, and just like oh, freaking hair here. And yeah, it was, but it just felt creepy because it was just like 3 fingers like just chook across my forehead.
That actually happened to my friend Deanna. So before we did the one Fairfield night, we were at Madison Seminary, which is this like incredibly spooky place out in Madison, Ohio. And Destination Fear was on it. It's been on a whole bunch of ghost shows. So we actually were we were facing each other on opposite sides of the hallway. So at one point we were picking up on like it sounded like 2 people were talking about us, I guess you can say. I remember Deanna saying, "Is she sleeping?" And that brought me to be like, "Hey, are they okay?" Because like we had blindfolds on. Like I remember like my head being down because I was trying to concentrate. And I remember saying the word tag, and if you ever watch my Instagram lives, you know that I make a face whenever I say something like I don't understand. So like I'll be in the experiment and I'll be like tag and be like, what is that about? So I remember like
I do
almost
the same
having like a
thing,
face made,
Like,
and the back of my chair got like bumped and like hit to the point where I like went like this, and I was like, oh, like something touched the back of my chair. And Mark and Steve, they were like, well, if you're playing tag, come get Deanna down at the other side of the hallway. And she had a video camera on her too. And this is also on my Instagram reels. It looks like she was playing with her hair because her husband, Mark, kind of like taps her lightly to come out. So she thought she was getting tapped out of the session. So you can see her go like this and kind of like wave. And at one point she was like, okay, it's not Mark, so maybe it's a spider. So it's like she was trying to like not panic that a spider was in her, like she thought a spider was in her hair. But we got out of the session and we're like, I kind of looked, I was like, no, something was hitting the chair, like something hit the chair. It happened. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, like I don't know, getting
it's
touched
hard too, because like you can't, like, yes, like it's happening and you're experiencing it, but you can't prove it to like the audience, to the people watching. It's just one of those things. It's the same with like when you're filming and you see something out of the corner of your eye, or you hear something that's not picked up on audio. It's a bit frustrating. But yeah, like the getting touch part, it's just...
It's a little
like,
unnerving for me.
I don't... It depends on how I'm getting touched.
Yeah.
There is a spirit called Dave that everyone knows about because we have a hashtag. Dave's dead. Okay. And I commented actually on your post about what's the best EVP you've captured, right?
Yep.
Dave, yet again, telling us that he is dead as an EVP. But, while Jane and I were doing a double, I have like this feeling of something, like a finger, like on my hair. And I'm just like, okay. And I can feel like my hair kind of moving. And then it just is on my scalp, and it just goes run all the way across the other side. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on right now? What the heck? And but it was Dave, bloody Dave.
You are braver than me, because as soon as it would go around the back, I'd like fly the headphones off and like freak out. Like I don't mind getting touched. I really don't. I think it's cool, but like when you're under the session and you're getting touched, that's when it becomes a little unnerving for me, because I don't know what's going on. And I'm so like,
and it's like so, like other people, like at that night we had my new partner Jen like there, so she was filming me. But when it's just Jane and I, for instance, doing it, and there's no one else around, you kind of
it's like
have that thought of like, hang on, is that someone actually touching me? Is that a spirit touching me? What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But it's cool that like this method is like kind of taking off.
Yeah,
I personally love it. And I just think it takes all the bias out of it, which is also really cool. And it's just super neat when things start to like really line up. Like you said, like when you start getting like all these responses. Yeah. So I don't know. I love this session. So I'm in it for the long run.
Same. Absolutely.
I will say, if I ever go live, it's probably one of those sessions, because that just is what I'm always doing.
Do it.
I think, like, I don't think I would feel like my investigation is complete without doing a sensory jet. Like, and for Jane and I, like we get drained quite a bit because we will stay in. I think like, you know, like we would stay in for quite some time. So I'm you know, really shortening like the amount of time I'm doing it for now.
Yep.
And, you know, doing kind of multiples in different areas. But yeah, you know, like we would finish and we'd just be absolutely drained, like nothing left in the tank. So we'd always just leave it to the end of the investigation and
always
then
leave it till the end.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, I'm there 45 minutes, an hour, because, you know, especially if someone's questioning me, they're just getting the answers and the you know, the direct responses. So you just want to keep going. And then usually if I'm doing it, I just keep doing it until something lets me know it's time to end. Like I'm getting touched multiple times or I'm getting uncomfortable or something goes, you need to stop. You know, that's happened before. They're like, just stop. You need to stop. And I'm like, okay, they're telling me to stop. And they're like, there's some reason for this. So I'm like, yep, it's time to stop.
Yeah, there have been so many times where I have been just about to pull myself out. The most recent time was actually at Mid-Orange Correctional Facility. Steve was doing an event there, so we had like a big group with us, and we just kind of like wanted to show him what was it about. So I decided to go under for like probably, I think it was like not even like a half hour or something, but like I was getting absolutely nothing. Like I was just sitting there at one point and like I do a little countdown in my head, be like, okay, in like 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna end the session. And the second I got to 1, you would hear something. I'd be like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like one of those type of things. So like that went on, and like I don't know, it's really Mid-Orange was like really weird because that was like the first time I ever did a session and I didn't really get anything. Where I actually had like the big breaks.
There. Like amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
what was really interesting was our friend Matt Warner, he did one when I was like being like the moderator, and he did not say a single word for 10 minutes. And the 2 words he did say after complete silence was Courtney and leave. And he would not expand on it. And I was like, well, do you want me to like leave and like go bother Steve and like go talk down there? Or do you want me to like go in the hallway? And like nothing was ever said after that. So I was like, I'm not just gonna leave.
Well, see, with I was going to tell you, like with Mid-Orange Correctional, you know, because I was stalking your IG page last night, and the photo that you posted of that room with the door, and you said you wanted people to, you know, look at the photo and say what they got from the photo, right? And then you were going to like say, okay, well, yes, you're kind of right, or that's it, or whatever, right? So I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to look at the comments. I'm not going to look at what else she wrote. I'm just going to look at the photo and see what I get. And I was looking at it for maybe like 30 seconds, and then I'm seeing white tiles, like floor, walls, and then wet, like water. Okay. And then like I'm just getting this like feeling of absolute despair and sadness and screams, and I'm just like, holy hell, like was this a torture bathroom or something? Like and then, you know, like I just see this image of like a female in like an old hospital gown, like standing in the corner. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, I have to look now. Like after, you know, getting that, I have to have a look, and I have a look, and you've written down.
You said it was from Mid-Orange?
Yeah, and you said that it was the where they did the shock treatment.
Oh, that one. That one's actually from Waverly.
Waverly.
Yeah. Oh, because I was like,
I was just like,
Mid-Orange.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just like, because I was like thinking a torture bathroom, right? Because it's all tiled. And it was late. I was delirious and I'm not well. So it could have been anything that I was getting.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then when
no,
I saw what you wrote,
were
I was
right.
just like,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the room next to it, so the room that I posted, that was actually all the control room.
Wow.
And that, like, you could see, like, they had like the flip, I think, like the outlet on the wall, and then if you went to the other wall that wasn't in the picture, they had a hole in the wall so that they can watch you on the other side and see how the treatment was doing.
Wow.
And it really is for TB of the brain.
Mm.
Because TB was so rapid and it was such a new disease, they had absolutely no idea what the hell that they were doing. So any
Yeah.
treatment they thought was helping. And it's really one thing to keep in mind when you're talking about Waverly is that it always was in the spirit of when you beat this and when you got better and when you got to go home. Never never like if you got better, if you ever got to go home. So they were doing electric shock therapy to try to cure the brain that had TB, and I don't think it worked. I wouldn't
doubt it
say that it
would've.
did. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like I couldn't look at it anymore because
Mhm.
I felt just so sad.
Yeah, that was one room I didn't really stay in. Because when I went to Waverly, I did like this 4-day road trip down there, and I called it like the tour of Kentucky. So on the way down there, I stopped at Madison Seminary for a day tour and did a whole bunch of pictures there and got to go there for the first time. And then I stopped at Mansfield Reformatory, which is Ohio State Reformatory, where they film Shawshank Redemption and where Ghost Adventures and all those other
I'm
ghost shows have been.
so jealous that you had been to all these places and then not that far from me. It's not fair.
I know. I like the next place I'm going to. It is a 9-hour drive. So in my mind, it's like, oh, that's doable. But like now I'm thinking about it, like, oh god, that's like 9 hours. But it's like the same amount of time from like Waverly.
How long do you drive? How long's the drive up to Gatton, Highfields? Is it?
About
the 8-hour drive?
For me, no, what? No,
Yeah.
2 hours. No, 2 hours. You're thinking of Rock Camp. 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. Well, when we come over, whenever we're allowed off our prison island, you will definitely have to take us to
Of course, we'll bring you to the homestead. I know Steve is going to be on this show, so he'll talk all about that awesome little place that he's kind of acquired. And it's a really cool place, and it is terrifying once the sun goes down. It is terrifying.
Sounds right up my alley.
It is 40 years abandoned. It was set on fire 3 times, I believe, and it's still standing.
Wow.
And it's in the middle of the woods, so there's no streetlights. So once the sun goes down, it is dark, like stupid dark. I remember, I remember going there for like the first like little night investigation we did, and somehow I was first. Like somehow I always arrive early to these places, and I don't know how. So they texted me and they were like, "Yeah, we're about like 10 minutes out. Just sit there." And in my head, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just turn my headlights off so like anyone driving by won't know that there's someone here. That was a terrible mistake because as soon as I turned my lights off, it just engulfs you. Like it literally just swallows you. And you're just sitting there and you're listening to the nature. Sometimes there are coyotes in the distance. Sometimes they even come into the building. Like if the spirits and the possible trespassers don't scare you, the darkness will. Like at one point we turned our lights off and I was standing next to 2 people and I couldn't see them. I could not even see my hand in front of my face.
Wow.
And like towards someone was filming, like doing like a little Patreon episode there, and once his light was dying, so we turned it off and we were kind of like figuring out if like we still wanted to be there for the night. But once he turned it off and the darkness just like engulfed you again, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. We did everything that we needed to do. We are totally set. Yeah, I was like, this place is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I helped cleaned it up, but it is, yeah. And I'm actually going out there in like 2 weeks to, I think, do another like little investigation. So it'll be interesting. I'll probably be like,
go IG live.
Yeah. Maybe I'll introduce my little trusty solos and see if anything goes through.
Cool. Very cool.
But yeah.
I didn't realize the time had gone so fast. My gosh.
Q&A.
We've got like so much to talk about.
I know. I'm just like fascinated hearing all your exciting stories.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, there is one more thing that I wanted to quickly talk to you about, and that is the feminine macabre.
Yeah.
So that what was released in, was it March
Yeah.
this year?
Yeah. So Amanda, who is Spook Eats on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, I believe, she decided to make this amazing all-female, or people who identify as female, paranormal journal, so we can get our voices heard in like a male-dominated field, which is really cool. And like you said before, I started this whole like spooky blog back in October. So when she put the call out for writers, I think on New Year's Day, I was a little like taken aback by it, because I was like, oh, okay. Like it's something I've always wanted to do. So when it was offered, I was like, the worst that can happen is she says no. So let's just go for it. So I started writing about all my paranormal experiences as a kid, like with the face in the window. But about like halfway through, halfway to deadline, she called and said that she needed, like she put out a call for the writers that she needed dark history, and something other than paranormal to like kind of get the broad spectrum of like cemetery lore, urban legends, tarot, kind of just anything. So my piece that was in volume 1 that came out March 8th, which is International Women's Day, so it's a lovely way to celebrate. It is called A Rain in the Night, and it's basically, I don't want to give too much away, but it is basically about a certain contraption that was made in the Victorian era to combat a certain fear that was going around at the time because of like the lack of medical advancement and the lack of, death science. So it was one of the very first things that kind of got my attention into like the dark history and like the macabre when I was like probably like in like 5th grade. I remember learning about this. So for it to kind of like come circle and to like write an article or like write a little article about it, and for it to like be published in a book is a very, very awesome experience. And I honestly cannot be more grateful for it. But I was in it along with 29 other amazing females, and they all wrote about witchcraft and tarot and paranormal experiences and, ghost stories and urban legends. So volume 1 is out right now, but I think at the end of the month, volume 2 comes out, and I'm not in. I'm not in that one, which is quite all right, because I love the first one, and there needs to be room for other people to get their chance. And I'm so happy that the people who are in the book on the second one have gotten in, because I've been following them ever since I started the account, and they're just so cool to like look up to. So I am so excited to like read about them. But you can find it.
It's so good to see that, there's more like female investigators, like, getting into this field, like, and making like a prominent mark. You know what I mean? Like, not just the sidekick, but making our mark as we are just as capable as you guys are.
Yeah, like when I first started this blog, I was always fascinated by this field. I've always wanted to find my way in it somehow. And I remember like watching all the paranormal shows and being like, I want to do that. I want to go. I just want to do this. And like for the past 10 years, I've been investigating. It's been on and off because I haven't really found anyone. And putting myself out there in this field that's so like male dominated, it's kind of like, all right, like how is everyone going to take this? Like,
yeah.
And surprisingly, I've been, I don't know, moving ground because I'm obviously you're into this.
You are
and
like,
I mean,
over 3,500 followers on IG. You're doing good.
It's something I could like have never thought of when I first started this, but the way it's all played out, it's kind of like, okay, like maybe I'm here to stay in like the paranormal field, which is really awesome, especially having like such a passion for it. Yeah, especially for having such a passion for it. It's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do everything I can for it.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And yeah, congratulations on, getting your story featured. Are you planning on, starting a YouTube channel?
I get that question a lot, actually. As of right now, I do not think I'm going to start a YouTube. I'm kind of more of like the behind the scenes type of person. Which is like, I just don't think I have what it takes to bring it to YouTube. But who knows? It could happen one day. I did try, like I wrote down in like my journal that one of these days I want to do a documentary or like be a part of one. So I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I think of right now, I think I'm just going to stick to writing because that's just who I am. And that's how like I express myself better. But one of these days it could pop up on here.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. And like, I think that you would bring a lot to the table by starting a YouTube channel and posting your investigations and stuff.
I mean, quarantine brought out this little project, so if we ever go back into a quarantine, maybe it'll bring out a YouTube channel.
Who knows?
To be announced.
Mate, I'm sure whatever you do, you'll be very successful, whatever road it is you choose to take. So, Courtney, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, everybody in the chat, Adam, honoured to be your sidekick, Peter. Adam has just joined. He's the sister. He's just joined the team. Okay, so I saw Kim asked a question. So yeah, if anyone in the chat has any questions that they're dying to ask Miss Courtney here, please put them in the chat. Electric Pagan, who's Kim, a good friend of ours, is asking where the homestead is.
So the homestead that I was talking about, it is called the Saratoga County Homestead. It is in Galloway, New York, I believe. So it's right at like the base of the Adirondack Mountains. Yeah. Long story short, it's in New York.
You're talking New York, Valley and Mountains. I'm there.
I keep forgetting that you guys are from Australia.
It doesn't matter. As I said, you're talking Valley and Mountains. I'm there. Like, anything involving valleys, mountains, trees, nature.
Love it. It really is a pretty place to be. I've never hiked there, but I've only like really drove through it, and I could just stare at it for hours. Like I even said when I was coming home from Mid-Orange, because the morning I actually drove through a storm getting to Mid-Orange, and when we were in the correctional facility, it stormed all night. Like it downpoured, and we were caught in it. And on the way home, it started raining, but I was in between the mountains, and the mountains were just covered in fog. And I was like, oh, this is such a perfect spooky movie. Like if only I had someone else to drive for me so I could just stare out the window and romanticize my life.
As long as that's perfect, I want to go right now.
Because
sounds like my kind of perfect place.
It was so perfect. I was like,
legends around.
I know. I was like, this is gorgeous for like 7:30 in the morning.
Oh hell yeah! We're so going.
Oh, okay. Hang on a sec. We've got
Jen.
Jen is my other partner in crime. What is the most challenging thing you face when investigating? That's a good question.
Ooh, that is a great question. I would say the most challenging thing I face is probably me standing in my own way. Sometimes I overthink a situation. So like the whole solo thing, if we're going back to that, I overthink them so that I panic myself. But so I feel like me getting in my own way is like the most challenging thing. But I think it's kind of just like I sometimes I want to let my guard down completely and just see what happens, but I know that like you have to have your guard up. So I feel like another one of my challenges is try to like find that balance of like what's too much and what's not. Because I feel like if I know at Mid Orange I had my guard up really high because it was an all male jail and I was one of the many females in there. But when I went down the one hallway alone by myself that I ended up actually running out of because I had footsteps running towards me coming from a room.
Yes.
A
spirit running towards you is pretty daunting, especially if
yeah, and I never did a prison before. So it, especially being all male, it was kind of like a little intimidating. So I had my guard up a little too high. So I feel like that kind of like helped me not as experience so many things that other people did. But I also experienced a lot that night in terms of the rushing of me and hearing a footstep behind me that caused me to stop in the middle of the hallway and like look back. So I feel like it's just me getting my own way and like getting out of my head and like just kind of feeling the space out more than trying to like protect myself and like overthink everything.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, no, we can definitely get in our heads a little too much, and I've actually been a little bit on the slack side with my protecting and having my guard up, which is probably why I end up bringing home so many ghosty boyfriends at this point in time. I think, and I've told my viewers, like, I think we're going to have to start a tally, guys, because this is kind of getting ridiculous.
I know, but then we've had the other extreme, like you mentioned, Courtney, that we've put up way too much protective,
absolutely,
spiritual protection, and we have absolutely nothing. An extremely active place go down. Like we've had chaotic chaos at this place, and then we were nice and nothing. It was dead. Like the whole energy of the place was completely different. Like the really deep darkness that was normally there, you could see clear as day. We didn't need torches or anything. It was just completely changed because we put up such a personal, like, energetic guard ourselves, but also we called in so much, because we're both very different spiritually. We called in so much spiritual protection that nothing happened. I think we went a little bit overboard. Whoops.
It was,
and it's all like it's like this weird like give and take.
I know you've got.
I said go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's about finding that balance. Like you can really get in your own way, like both just sort of in a more logical, real sense.
And like I really do freak myself. I really do freak myself out because I remember like walking towards the hallway that I ended up running out of, and I was like, I'm gonna be brave, I'm gonna do this. Just keep your head straight and just keep walking. Don't stop. And then I stopped because I heard something behind me, and then it was a footstep catching up to me. And I was like, oh no. And then I heard something from a room, and I was like, let's just look in there. And I was about to go in there, and then all you hear is like 4 or 5 footsteps come running towards me. And I just like backed up, and I was like, no. And I just booked it. So like I tried so hard, but like in that moment, I just got so into my head because I was like, nope, something's here. Like, something's here. It doesn't want me here. It's fine. I'm just gonna leave.
Like, I feel like I'm almost becoming desensitized in a way because, like, I'm just not feeling bothered at all. Like, I'm just cool. Oh, something happening there. Awesome, let's go. Like,
like I'm all for hearing things and like running towards them, especially like when I have like just another person. If it's one person by me, I'm like, instantly every like the confidence and like the I
Yeah.
guess the badass level goes up, and like once I'm alone, it's like, oh no, you're by yourself, girlfriend. Like you're done. Like you're by yourself.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that's what I'm just trying to work on, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And welcome, professional paranormal research. Nice to have you. All right, Jen's got another question for you. What is the most challenging thing you face when investigating?
I think we just did that one.
That's the one we just did.
Is that
Next
the
one down. Yeah, next one down. Just above them saying no.
It's okay.
As a female, what do you feel you bring to investigations that males don't?
Empathy.
Well, I mean, that's easy.
I know.
That would have been my answer. That would have been my answer.
I like personally, I just am a very empathetic person. So when it comes to like investigating, I feel like if you kind of like break it down and talk to them as if you know what they're going through or like can like try to relate, that might bring out some activity that might not have come out before. So I know like I work in a special needs field outside like as my day job. So with that, and especially like when it comes to like investigating asylums and poor farms who house these people, when it comes to those locations, I already feel like I'm at an advantage on top of everyone because I've worked in this field. I know exactly what they've been through. I know how it feels to care for these people and not get a lot in return or just deal with the daily ups and downs that they have to face. So like when I'm in locations like that, I can bring that empathy and I can bring just connecting, like a connection more than like some people can. And like when it comes to males, I feel what am I trying to say? Like I feel like I just bring a new perspective. Like they might ask
approachable in a way.
I think the difference between males and females, males are very logical beings, whereas females are more emotional beings. So we do have more, it's not saying males aren't empathetic or compassionate. They are able to do that, but it's just more natural for us females to bring that sort of more open, caring, nurturing.
Exactly.
We exuberate that more naturally than a male who's just very logically like like
a mother instinct type.
Yeah, they may feel a feeling, but they're not deeply exploring why they're feeling the feelings, whereas a female does explore those feelings in much more depth because we're less logical and more emotionally driven beings. Just naturally, I think that's and that's how we bring that different perspective,
Yeah, and it just goes with like the different like personal experiences you have. I feel like those also bring like a whole other level to like what it is too. So
I think your life, whether it's the career fields you've worked in or the education you've had or just your life experiences in general definitely help bring a different perspective as well. It's just no different between me and Peter had very different life experiences, but there's some that we shared, and that certainly brings a different perspective to how we investigate or the location we're at or the spirits we're interacting with.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. Electric is asking, what's your favorite equipment to use on investigations?
Okay. I love digital recorders. I will always swear by them. They're an investigator's best friend. But I really also love the spirit box. And I'm also really into Polaroids. I love Polaroid cameras and Polaroid film.
Polaroid.
You have lots of them on your IG.
You cannot mess up a Polaroid. So especially if you take a couple in like a series of the exact same thing and you can get something on there, like you for me, you can't dispute that because that's like hard film. You can't mess with it.
Click it.
So
Yeah.
Like what you see, like honestly, what you see is what you get.
What you get, exactly. Yes.
So
like there's no film just sitting, getting heat affected or cold affected while it's sitting in your camera, or being affected once, it comes out of the camera or during the processing. It's just like, shoot, whoop, comes out, it's processing, you shake it around, and that's it. I have a photography background, so I'm like, so like,
I really want to get one so I can, I always forget to take, pictures when I'm investigating because I'm so focused on, the filming and the investigation that I just completely forget to
I never get time because I'm doing it all. Usually doing it until recently. Now I've got partners, but I'm usually doing everything. I have got two hands, and
I am the complete opposite. I always forget to film. I always forget that's like when I was going down that hallway, I had my phone and charging in my leggings pocket on my hip. And I still, I never took it out. Like, it never fazed me. Be like, hey, why don't you, record yourself walking down this hallway? No, just have your phone charging in your pocket.
No, I'm the opposite. I'm always filming, never, just press, you can press a photo while you're filming, but I've got equipment in this hand, or I'm like...
I know.
I always forget to do everything. And I always, my problem, I guess it's not really a problem, but I always get really caught up in the moment. And I realized that when I get caught up in the moment, that's when things happen. So it's like, damn, I wish I would have caught that, or damn, I wish I were recorded, but
that's how it happens.
It is what it is. And I loved every minute of it, so I can't complain.
No, that's it. Absolutely no way.
Well, following on from that question, what is your goal to buy your next piece of equipment? What's your ideal, what you really want to get as your next bit of...
I really want
Ovilus, don't you?
Oh no, that was my friend's. I just did it for the gram.
I love it.
But I held on to it all night, and it was by my side. So I really want an Ovilus 3. They don't make them anymore, and they're stupid amount of money on eBay, along with a DR60, which is also a piece of equipment that I would love. Steve has one from one of his friends, and I refuse to touch it or even look at it because I want nothing to do with it because it's so fragile. But the DR60...
GR60.
It's called the DR60. So it's this square Panasonic digital recorder that is a voice activated recorder. So you can be doing a 10-minute long EVP session, and it would only pick up on your voice and any responses that it gets because it's voice activated.
Yep.
It was made, I think they stopped producing it in the late 1990s. So they you can't even get a file off of it. The only way you can get your evidence off of it is by filming it with your phone. So they're really cool. Ghost Adventures, Kindred Spirits, Destination Fear, all the big names have them. They go for $2,000 on eBay, but it's
$2,000.
heartbreaking.
I got $2,000, $2,000 a Shay, and I can get the 3 pieces, the main equipment I want.
Right? Yeah, it is. It's heartbreaking to see the prices, and every once in a while, someone will put one up for $200, $150, but you have to be so quick to buy those because everyone has it on their watch list. But I would definitely want one of those and an Ovilus.
Yeah, Jen and I really want an Ovilus too.
Yeah, Ovilus, SLS, and a GS2.
Yeah, GS2. Good Lord, yes.
$2,000 to have it.
Aren't they building the Oviluses again now?
Yeah, the 5. Yeah, the most recent one, the 5 or whatever it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You can get them made to order.
So what would be all right, any more questions, guys? What would be the scariest location that you've been to where you're just there and you just want to go?
Oh, okay. if I had to pick based off like me not like really wanting to be there and like just getting a weird feeling, that top contender would be Bobby Mackey's. So I
get into.
So I went to Bobby Mackey's. I ended up having a private tour about 5 hours after I came back from Waverly. So we did the Waverly hunt. I got back to the Airbnb around like 5 in the morning. I got like 2 hours of sleep, and then I was on the road to go home. And on the way home, I stopped at Bobby Mackey's and Fairfield to like break up the drive and like get tours and get pictures. So I went to Bobby Mackey's, and it was just me, and it was a very, very uncomfortable place. As soon as you like pass through the threshold and go actually into the bar, I don't know if it was because it was like a Tuesday morning and it like an empty bar on a day, like on a broad daylight, is just weird because you're so used to seeing these places packed to the brim.
Yes.
But it was, there was just something about that place that felt off. And the entire way there, I was doing the best that I could to try to disassociate everything I already knew about this place. I was trying to go in with like a fresh start. Just listen to what Laura, my amazing like tour guide, had to say about the place, and try to just see if I could feel anything out. So when I got there, she looked at me and she was like, "Do you have any of your equipment? Do you want to investigate?" And I was like, I didn't plan on it. No, my equipment's in my trunk. As much as I would love to investigate, I didn't plan on it. But we ended up doing a small investigation with her spirit box, and we kind of just like sat and talked and watched the dark dance floor and bar area, and it was just a whole nother level of spooky. I believe I saw a few shadow figures like right out of the corner of my eye when we were hanging out. And when we had the SB 711, if that's what you call it, the one with like the temperature gauge in it now, the newest one that's out there.
Yeah, that's one.
Or the SB 7T or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We had it on the table and it really wasn't doing anything. But as soon as we started talking about Carl, and Carl Lawson was the man who took care of the place. He was there before Bobby Mackey even had the place. So that's how he kind of got in to Bobby Mackey's. He basically came up to Bobby when he bought it and was like, "Hey, I know this building like the back of my hand. I used to work at the bar that was before this." And Bobby kind of just like took him on and was like, "All right." So we were talking about Carl's favorite place in the bar and like what his bar stool was. And she was telling me about experience. And the entire time we talked about Carl, the temperature gauge kept going off, which I thought was weird. But when we went up to his apartment, I don't know if it was because it was daylight and it was completely light up there, but that's like one of the places everyone says you should kind of like stay away from and like you shouldn't put your guard down. But I ended up putting my guard down in like the worst place. But his apartment was a little weird, especially hearing all the stories and like knowing the backstories on him and knowing how he slept with a shotgun. And like I guess it was just very surreal to be in his apartment where you've heard all these stories come from. And then when you had to leave and go around back to go into like the basement of the building. And as soon as she shut the door for the basement area, I wanted to get out of there immediately. I was like, why did I do this? Why am I here alone? I'm not really here alone, but I'm here alone. So she was telling me all about the shadow figures that they saw in Carl's workshop and how they have a guy called the Shuffler down there because all he does is shuffle around. So you'll hear him shuffling. You'll see him passing by. As soon as we went by the well, I didn't really get a bad feeling, but I was just very uneasy the entire time I was just in the basement. So like the further we went in and like she took me to like different rooms and stuff and was like telling me about it, I was just trying to be like, okay, cool. And like taking my pictures and like just trying to soak everything in and like trying to be like, okay, I just want to leave. I just like, it was one of those places where I was just excited to be in, but at the same time, I'm just like, all right, like I could have done just like hanging out on the dance floor. Like
Yeah.
it's cool. Like it was very cool to be in there. And
Mm.
I pushed myself to go there because I was like, how many times am I going to be in Kentucky? Like, how many times am I going to do this? Like, just go there, do your tour.
Mm.
And I'm very happy I did because it was like a one in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not a place that I would want to be alone in. Like, especially just like hanging out in a bar by myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you get to go in the basement at all? Like the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so we went in the basement. I went and hung out in Johanna's dressing room, which she
Mm.
is the legend of
Yep.
the daughter
Yes.
who committed suicide because her dad
Yes.
wouldn't let her marry the guy.
Yeah.
So I hung out in her dressing room. I saw the well
Mm.
that was down there. I saw the stairs that went to nowhere because it used right where the stairs were. There was like a bathroom or something, but when they
Mm.
made it, they like closed it off. So now it's just a stairway to nowhere. And then we saw Carl's workshop, which was very creepy. And like that's basically like the gist of the basement.
Mm.
The well area is a little weird. Like that's where like everyone kind of like has their experiences. But
Mm.
yeah, we
Maybe
didn't
because
hear
of
any.
the
Yeah, we
water,
didn't hear
the
anything down
water in
there.
it.
Yeah. Actually, there's active water that runs underneath, and then right outside you have a highway. So it's off a highway. It is
Yeah.
right near the Ohio River, and there
Yeah,
is
'cause doesn't
railroad
it
tracks.
run under the highway?
What was that?
Doesn't it connect like like the well, like it connects like through a
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
pipe
there's like an
under the
underground
highway? Mm.
yeah. So you have running water underneath it. You have the railroad tracks directly next to it, a highway
Yeah.
it's off of, and the
Mm-hmm.
Ohio River. So it's kind of just a mess, I guess you could say. I don't think it was anything that was with the building. I don't think like Pearl Bryant and her murderers hang out there. The only
Mm.
thing actually relating to Pearl and that story with Bobby Mackey's is that the stagecoach they were in kicked him outside, like kicked him out of the stagecoach right outside of Bobby Mackey's. So the whole
Mm.
story of Pearl Bryant actually took place about like 7 miles away from Bobby Mackey's.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. And like with her head being thrown down a well, like it could have been possible. I'm not saying that it's not because her head was
Mm.
never found, but they're suggesting that they took her head back to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is like right on the border.
Mm.
And they destroyed her head in the furnace of the dental school that one of them worked in.
Oh, lovely.
Right? Just so
Charming.
lovely.
Oh man, it's just disturbing. Very, very
Unbelievable.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
All right. Well, I guess we need to wrap up.
Okay.
Which yeah, it's been like awesome having you on and chatting
Yes,
to you.
thank
Like
you.
I just have so much more I want to talk to you about. So yeah, we'll have to have you on again for
Oh,
sure.
of course. I would love
Um,
to.
Yeah. But yeah, like let me know when you're gonna do an IG live so I can
Yeah.
like
Yes.
In like 2 weeks, I'll most likely am going to be at the homestead because the summer school
Okay.
program that I'm doing, it
Yeah.
ends on the 20th. So I think the 21st, I'm heading out there.
Ah,
Um, so like I cannot wait for my summer vacation to begin because I have so many things planned. But so yeah, we'll probably do one at the homestead, most definitely. And if not, the next week after that, I'll be in Indiana for the Indiana State Sanitarium, which
mhm.
is very, very active, I guess. It's like a brand new location that just opened. The
Wow.
owners who own Madison Seminary and Fairfield, they actually are working with this one. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's new and I'm ready to get in there and it's going to be super active
Oh
and I cannot wait.
Awesome. Yay.
man,
That
I
sounds
just want to like
so cool.
be there. Like, oh, it's so
Oh, one of
frustrating.
these days you will.
You
Yeah,
guys
we'll get there.
have like amazing locations. Um, yeah, like I'm going to investigate at Fairbridge again on Monday night. So I'll probably, it'll probably
That's
be an
exciting.
all-night. Yeah, an all-night thing. So, yeah, I'll probably do a bit of a live investigation as well, see how we go. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I had to cancel my investigation today because, yeah, I'm highly contagious and I'm not allowed to go anywhere. So, but yes, thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thank you, everyone, in the chat, everyone who's been watching. Yes, like we had an awesome duo as our next guest in a couple of weeks. And like Courtney mentioned earlier, her friend Steve Broach will be on after that. And it's funny, like I didn't plan it this way, but it's going to be like females, like,
That's awesome.
and then
Yes.
Steve,
Happy fans. Yeah.
And then there's Steve.
and then there's Steve. And I'm sure he'll be able to give us more info on the homestead and how he acquired that.
He's actually going down to West Virginia, I think, Friday and Saturday. So he'll probably tell you all about that too. Because they're going to West Virginia Penitentiary. So like their big prison down there, and then old hospital on College Hill. I keep flipping it the opposite way.
I don't know, Jane.
So good.
I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to hit the East Coast first.
We just need to escape here. Escape it somehow.
So Jane and I have decided that if all else fails, we're just gonna swim. And
hope the US Coast Guard picks us up and just brings us ashore.
I mean, then we have to escape solid plan.
Then we have to escape their clutches.
As long as we get no limbs taken from us from all the great white sharks.
Yeah, that's
right. We've thought of everything.
You should like put yourself in like one of those like inflatable bubbles that like people try to like run on water with.
Yeah, we
just have like your gear case in there too, and just
Kim's
like
gonna buy you one. Kim send two.
Oh,
send two. We'll just be there going across the ocean.
Yeah,
you'll make it there. Maybe in like 3 years, but you'll make it.
We'll get there eventually. Oh, it'll probably be faster than they'll let us out of here anyways. So
yeah,
it's worth the try.
Can you imagine like a cargo ship or a cruise? Like, and people will be like,
"What the hell is that?
Why are there two bubbles moving in the water?"
You'll come to New York and you'll see like one of their like water taxis or like their or not Eiffel Tower, their Statue of Liberty little tour guide, and they're like, and over here you'll see two women in bubbles. God knows why, but here they are.
Yeah.
Out of pure desperation to leave their country.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it.
All right, everybody. We'll wrap it up, and thank you all so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed and listening to all Courtney's experiences.
Thanks for letting me
a lot more.
No, it's awesome.
It's been great. So, all right, we'll see you later, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.